Color's initial wedge was pricing. Incumbents were charging north of $4,000 for generic testing, and Larky's and Gill's original thesis was that they could unlock a bigger market by charging dramatically less. But new technology alone isn't a viable business model. You will have to unpack why your approach hasn't worked in the past for existing incumbents. Lark says he made the mistake of assuming standard supply and demand law applied to the buyers they were originally after, insurers and doctors. How studying incumbents led Color to pivot the product. There are a lot of complex dynamics in healthcare that shaped how Color could go to market. We initially made the mistake that buyers, doctors, and insurers were on a simple supply and demand curve. If you reduce the cost of X by 90%, they would buy a lot more or at a minimum avoid higher priced options. But it turned out that insurers couldn't single source from one company. They could increase in purchasing by relaxing criteria like what you need to qualify for a generic test, but if they did that for us, they'd have to do it for everyone else too. Because individual doctors might want tests from specific labs, he says. Access restrictions are determined by the median or high price of a service. So, being a low-cost leader doesn't make your product easier to buy. It just gives you less margin to put to work to access the market. Access only improves if everyone drops their prices and insurers can then assume a lower cost for a given service. This meant that even if Color offered a low price, insurers still wanted to keep restrictions on whole categories to contain costs. We realized we were in a catch-22, where insurers introduced tons of frictions to stop expensive tests from being used too frequently. Because of the expectation and friction, test vendors need to spend a lot of money just to get paid. That in turn caused the cost of sales and collections to be a far bigger driver of high prices than the underlying cost of testing, he says.